Now it's looking likely that ticket offices will come under threat of closure, apparently up to about 1,000 of them to be precise. I'll start with you, Martin. When it comes to ticket offices, I mean, there's two kind of veins of thought here, isn't there? There's one which is, you know, get your tickets on your phone, crack on with life, you don't need this, it's an unnecessary bureaucracy. The other side of the fence is, well, that's great if you've got a smartphone and all the rest of it, but what about people that don't have that? What about people that have got the questions and the queries? You need that resource for them.
Yeah, well, the data out is, what, about 90% of people or more now aren't even using ticket officers, but the fact of the matter is the people that do rely upon them are the most vulnerable, disabled, the elderly, and oftentimes GB users don't kill cash campaigners out there. It's old people that aren't keeping up with the pace of change who are made to pay the price. And I kind of agree weirdly with Mick Lynch today. It's not often you hear me saying that.
You're feeling all right, kid?
I know, I don't know what's in this coffee.
Hey, and 2 minutes ago, everyone, he was agreeing with Tony Blair. Who is this? It's Martin Daubney on the external of him, but what's going on?
Underneath, I'm one of those lizard people. I'm a David Icke one. But I think the fact of the matter is, it is true that old people particularly get left behind with parking meters. You know, we're just trying to struggle with having a smartphone app. My dad wouldn't know how to have a smartphone app for a train ticket if his life depended on it. And I think it's unfair that it's being phased in like this. And they're saying that they won't make people redundant, and they'll move them onto platform staff, but also safety. When you get to a train station at night, if you're lost, if you're confused, if you're an elderly person, you want human contact to help you feel safe and to help you with directions. Whereas a taxi rank, it's not just about process and transactions. It's about people feeling that they're having a human interaction and they feel safe. So actually, I'm against the idea of closing these ticket offices.
So just to give you some stats here, everyone, about 12.5% of tickets apparently are sold over the counter. This is down from about 85% in 1995. In England, when it comes to railway stations, apparently 43% of them are unstaffed / no ticket office. That's according to the Rail Delivery Group. Anyway, Aaron, your thoughts on it all?
Well, I mean, besides what Martin was saying there, it just speaks to me of how we're becoming such a miserable, atomised country. You know, 15 years ago, you could go down a high street. It was very different to today. And this particularly hurts older people, like you say, because they aren't necessarily equipped to deal with the world of apps and smartphones. It's the same with post offices. It's the same with bank branches. And people over 60 really have been hit by a tsunami of just adversity in trying to do the basics in life. You said, I think it's 15% of people get a ticket, you know, face-to-face.
12.5.
Sorry, yeah, 12.5%. My apologies. You know, 1 in 8.
He's not paying attention, everyone.
No, I know. 1 in 8. But look, you know, I remember being in Hazelmere, which is a long way away from where I live, not that long ago, and I had to get a face-to-face ticket. And I don't know what the proposal is from the government. In that sort of situation, what would I do? Get a taxi home? Would I spend £150 on a taxi? Or get my wife to pick me up? I mean, it's daft. So it's just one of those where it's unnecessary, miserable, mean, and this idea of people on the platforms in quote-unquote new and engaging roles. You know, we have a purportedly conservative government which wants to turn the whole of the public sphere into, you know, the Apple Store. You know, I would like a bit of personality and difference and distinction when I use the trains. You go to Japan, staff all over the place, dressed very smartly, wearing their suits.
I love travelling in the train in Japan. Oh, I do.
Why
Those
can't we have
bullet
that
trains.
here?
They are. If you've never been on a train in Japan, you have not lived. And if you've not been to a toilet in Japan, that is a whole, isn't it? A whole.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever sat on a toilet in Japan?
No.
Oh, yeah. Everyone, that is a.
It kind of does the job for you, doesn't it?
The heated seats.
They heat you. They wash you. When you finish, they dry you.
Blow dry you.
They squirt a little poof up your bits. You can choose to have a freshener. You can choose to massage. Oh, lovely. Anyway, back to trains. I lost myself for a moment there. The flip side to all of this will be, yes, Michelle, people want these train ticket offices and all the rest of it, but people simultaneously will cry about the price of train tickets. So then, where is the happy medium here? Because the companies are trying to create efficiencies to try and keep train fares down.
They're creating efficiencies because they need to give their shareholders dividends. If you look at, for instance, the water companies, we've had privatised water in this country since 1989. More than £70 billion has been paid in dividends. They've loaded onto themselves £60 billion worth of debt, and yet water bills have increased 50% more than inflation since 1989. It's a similar tale with trains. So, look, if we had...
Are you going to take me down the nationalisation route?
No, but look, if they were making these cost savings and they said this will directly benefit the customer, I might not agree with it, but like you say, it's a trade-off and it's an explicable one. What we have instead is a system where, frankly, the consumer is squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and squeezed, and when you have low margins in this industry, and rail has always been a relatively low-margin industry anyway, well, where are you going to get profits from? It's from poorer customer service. And I think we are coming to a place now where we do need that conversation. Should it be in public ownership or shouldn't it? I tend towards the former, but people who tend towards the latter need to understand the quality of the service will get worse and worse and worse.
It's worth pointing out that about 60% of the revenue for train companies now is from the government. It's on life support because of the government, because of the changing ways of work patterns. People are working from home and passenger numbers haven't recovered since the pandemic. They're unlikely to ever do so. And the idea that cutting staff will reduce fares is for the birds. It won't. It'll just increase profit. And actually, quite a growing proportion of conservative, traditional, patriotic voters are now warming to the idea of public ownership because privatisation has been terrible.
Well, do you know, I think I'm one of them, right, when you say about those people, because I am a capitalist. I do like the whole kind of capitalist mentality and all the rest of it. I think it's good. I think profit is good. Aspiration is good, but even me, I'm getting to the point these days where I find myself going, well, actually, it is hard for these companies to justify the dividends, the profits and all the rest of it when so many people are in dire straits and their service, quite frankly, is absolutely rubbish. I'm trying to think of a word I could use. On tea time. I did well and I'm proud of myself. My mum will be proud of me watching it. What do you make to it all? Are you one of those people that we've just been referencing that perhaps has always been down with a capitalist agenda, but even now you are starting to question whether or not that is the right one or not? What's going on with us? Are we just getting old or are times changing?